every person who wants to write, part of their fear of writing is that they don't feel legitimate. They don't feel like a real writer. I think writing is the most important activity a person can do, whether they want to be published or not. We all have, everybody has things that happen to us in our childhood or in our life that were painful, and that pain helps us to grow into who we become. I healed a lot. I had a lot of healing from writing these stories. Very powerful. Absolutely. Writing your own story, whether anybody else reads it or not, changes something in the chemistry of your brain about the story. And to read it to somebody or have somebody read it and say, I understand, is just incredibly important and healing process. So each one of the stories that I wrote helped the story that I've been carrying around my whole life, helped it lose power over me. My childhood was given to me and my siblings by the fact that my father served overseas, and he came back a pretty damaged man. And so a lot of the things that happened in my childhood came from that. So the kind of the point of my memoir is wars affect the warrior, and the warrior takes that pain home and shares it with their family. I was online one night, and it was about 11 o'clock at night, and on my email came up a thing from CBC Nonfiction thing, and that the closing time was at within an hour. And I didn't think about it at all. I just pulled it up, pulled up that story and pressed send. And after I pressed send, I went, oh my God, what have I just done? But once I let it out into the world, it no longer mattered. It sort of didn't matter to me. Sure, I wanted it to be recognized, but it didn't matter to me. I let go of it. And when I got the notification that it was longlisted, I was fairly hysterical, to say the least. There's two reasons, I think, well, probably a lot more than two, but the two main reasons for writing these stories is what it gives you, what it gives me as a writer to write these stories and see them on paper. The second part is to read them to friends or have friends or trusted people read them and have feedback from them. And I guess there's three parts, because the other one is it helps other people to identify the pain in their own life and to understand that you can go beyond that. Since the CBC story has had so much publicity, a lot of friends have, or acquaintance, and some people I've never met before, have asked me if they can read it. And over again, when people read the story, they come back to me and they say that it helped them. It helped them. It's not that they had the same experience, but growing up is a hard thing to do. I don't think there's anybody that gets through their childhood without some story there that has made them who they are. And that's the other part of writing these stories, is you start seeing what made you who you are. And if it was particularly difficult childhood, you get to see how strong you are and what you've been able to do by writing it. The act of writing it helps it to put it into context in a different way. It's almost like it becomes somebody else's story. Being able to let go of the impact those events had on me and understand them from a different point of view, understand, like, it wasn't my fault. It wasn't my father's fault. It wasn't my mother's fault. It was what happened around them and what they brought into the family. All of our stories, when we tell our stories, it's a way of healing. It has been absolutely essential to my well-being to be writing these stories.